as far as I know, they never came in and made a proposal. They
Yeah.
made a presentation, but that's as far
Yeah.
as it ever went.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
I have no concerns.
I don't have anything either. I'm excited to work with Task. They've really helped out the city for everything that we've needed for the last many years that I've been involved with them. So I look forward to working with them for another 4 years. If we can get a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement with Test Incorporated.
I'll second.
Roll call,
Thank
please.
you.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. Number 10, ordinance number 1829-040725, rezones 335 North Kenosha from R2 single family to R3 general residential to allow for short-term rental apartment over garage. I'll allow if anybody has any comments or questions or anything like that.
I don't have anything to add, no.
It was at the recommendation of the Plan Commission,
That's
correct?
correct.
That's what I'm understanding, that it was under the directions for the planning commission, so I'm all for it.
Aldridge?
Nothing.
Did we have this on last time? Because I know a lot of times we usually put the recommendation up first.
I don't think so. You know, this is the first time the recommendation has come back, but Becky and I talked about it, and there was little objection to it at the plan commission, so
Yeah.
we decided to just get the ordinance ready to keep
Okay.
it moving so she can hit the building season running.
I know a lot of times we approve that first, so that way if people wanted to see the recommendation or the discussion of whatever they talk, I don't think it's a big
That is
deal.
generally the case unless Becky and I have been at that plan commission meeting or zoning meeting, and we just think, you know, you're probably gonna want to approve it. Why make them wait another 2 weeks? But we can wait if you want to.
No, I don't think that's necessary at all.
I
Again,
thought we agreed that that's the way we were going to handle recommendations.
This is the second one
Right.
we've done like
Yeah.
this.
okay, so this, is this the
Because
method going
sometimes
forward?
time is of an essence for these people who are trying to do this work, and making them wait a month is,
Wasn't it required to be 15-day notice, and also all the neighbors within 100 feet were sent a
Notified,
letter, so
yeah.
I don't see
Yeah.
any reason to hold this up.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying to hold it up. I'm just wondering if we think that's important to the process, that we place that on file so people are aware that they have the minutes, that so many people were notified, it's been on file for how long, that kind of stuff.
It's been on file for about a month, and there's been publication notices in the paper about the hearing, so.
Okay?
signs posted in the yard, and the neighbors were notified.
Yep. So as again, anytime one of our boards has a recommendation, my thoughts are you support that recommendation unless you have a very, very strong reason not to. So if there's no other further questions, comments, concerns, if I can get a motion to approve the ordinance.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 1830-040725.
Back up.
Whoop, wrong
number
one.
10.
My apologies. Ordinance number 1829-040725.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Number 11, ordinance number 1830-040725, corrects list of building codes adopted previously. It's not attributed to anybody here. My understanding is that there was a few errors in the last one that got published. Is that correct?
Right. I
right.
think Becky became aware that two of the electrical codes that Tony had suggested we cite in that last code amendment were not the proper codes. So she and I decided we probably should clean that up and have the right codes mentioned. This is something you just adopted within the last couple of months.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really change the spirit of anything we did, just corrects
Not at
the
all.
correct title
Deleted
name of
two
it.
things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns?
No.
Colin? Moyle?
Okay.
McDermott?
No,
Baldridge?
needs to be done.
I have nothing else. If we can get a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 1830-040725.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Number 12, old business. We only have one item under old business, and that's our Plan Commission appointment. We're looking at Mark Duttlinger. I'll go around the room if anybody has any comments, questions, concerns, or anything like that.
I think Mark will be a great addition to the Plan Commission. He's very involved in the community. I know him well, and wish him the best.
I'm excited to have him on the Plan Commission.
Welcome aboard.
Baldridge?
Yeah, happy to have him on, and I'd like to apologize for the apparent confusion from last meeting.
Yep. So my only two comments, the interesting thing is that about 3-4 months ago, we had a large amount of people that we kind of had approved to the vacancies and stuff like that. So we had a big list of recommended people and stuff like that. We talked about it in closed session of who we wanted to go down the list. And so Mark was one of the people that we actually reached out to earlier. Sadly, though, he didn't respond in time before we already moved on to the next person. So I was very happy to hear that when we put it back out again, he was still interested in applying. So I appreciate that. And I'm glad to know that we're going to get him back on there. So without further ado, I'd like to nominate Mark Duttlinger to the vacant Plan Commission appointment. If I can get a motion.
I motion that we appoint Mark Duttlinger to the vacancy on the Plan Commission.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. Number 13, new business. A, solicitor application, Surf Internet. My understanding is there's
A new one.
How many more of these are we going to approve? I mean, I know this wants to be, we talked about this possibly being the last year, but I don't know how many more they're going to keep bringing in. Did they give any kind of indication of that?
You know, they work with a third party, and it's probably just a manpower issue,
Okay.
be my guess. But they did pass background checks.
All right. Or are there anybody has any questions, concerns?
I imagine that they're going to be knocking on as many doors. They still intend to knock on as many doors as they did when they came to us the first time. So I don't really think it's a big issue to approve it this time. But yeah, again, a discussion about this moving forward is probably warranted.
Well,
And the period of time, it says a year, but I assume that this person isn't going to be the sole person knocking on doors for a whole year. Maybe somebody quit or,
I think we approved 3.
well, this
Last
one
time.
specifically is a year, but
Well, I mean, I think they're approved for a year,
yeah.
but we approved 3.
Right.
So it's a new name.
Yeah.
McDermott?
Well, I appreciate them coming around knocking on doors, but I would like to see Surf Internet correct some issues that they have throughout town that they haven't repaired people's property and such. I have a problem with, I don't necessarily have a problem with them being a solicitor and going door to door, but I think they need to take care of the people that have issues with them right now. We have quite a few of them. If that could be brought to their attention first, I think that'd be a good idea.
Baldridge?
I don't know how I got involved with the Surf Internet people, but I've been addressing the situation at a local business. They've assured me that they will look into this and hopefully get it rectified. I would like to say that we do appreciate Surf, and they're a very valuable asset for our city.
Excellent. All right. I have nothing else to add. I'm just excited that they're here. Hopefully they'll get their opportunity to do their solicitations and stuff like that, because I think in general, we don't want to be allowing door-to-door solicitors. They're kind of in a unique situation because they're a brand new vendor into the city that we kind of allowed to come. So there's nothing else. If I can get a motion to approve the solicitor applications.
Make a motion to approve the solicitor applications for Surf Internet.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
B, tag day requests. All right, this is pretty straightforward. Well, we do this once a year. We allow, obviously they come out and they raise funds for a lot of good local charities and local nonprofits. So, do I have anything to add to that?
No.
I'm excited I always like to see the boot out there, and it's just something you always remember as a kid.
McDermott?
It's a good thing all the way around, so I'm for it.
Excellent. Aldridge? I do say one thing, and I almost have to apologize to the fire department. I was taken by surprise on the day that they're out there with the batteries and stuff like that, and I only had a couple bucks on me, and I took a battery, and I don't even realize, I think I didn't give enough money for a 9-volt battery, a value of a 9-volt battery even, so feel terrible about that. Okay, if there's nothing else, I'd like to see if we can get a motion to approve the tag day request.
I'll make a motion that we approve the tag day request.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. C, future working meetings. So I've been talking to some of the new commissioners here, and in the past, we when we first sat down in this administration, we talked about doing working meetings every quarter or something like that. We only did 2 of them, and then things kind of fell apart. We decided we didn't really want to spend the time with that. So the idea of working meetings is if there's topics that we'd like to talk about that are a little bit more back and forth, a little bit more discussion based than just the standard business items and stuff like that, it would offer an opportunity for that. So I know some of them came up, like one of them talked about the various economic incentive programs. I know we have 2 commissioners on that were not part of those initial discussions. Not saying that we have to modify anything with them, but if we want to bring those conversations up. Another one I think that came up was Commissioner Cullinan brought up the city seal. This was something that we kind of addressed maybe about 1.5 years ago, and it really hasn't been addressed again. So and then if there's other things that we want to bring up with different events or modifying things like that, this is an opportunity for that. So I just wanted to kind of gauge the discussion. If people want to go back to doing something like that, you can do one of them, see how it works. That way there's no regular business on there. It's more of an open forum discussion. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, I can only speak for myself, and my time is probably a lot less valuable than other people's time. So other people might have a different opinion, but I'm okay with the idea if it's truly something that we can't fit onto a regular meeting agenda, if it's really going to be something that we have to discuss in great detail. I guess that's just kind of where I stand with it.
Okay. Well,
I really like the idea of it being more of a casual working session where we all can talk, and especially being that the fiscal year is going to start over, I'd be interested to see, I know what my departments want, but it could be a group discussion of what we expect to see for the next fiscal year monetarily wise of what's going to come out the door. So I think that has some benefit. And like I said, I really wanted to get more into the economic development because again, there's a lot of expenses coming out. How can we bring in more money?
McDermott?
Well, I'm always in favor of working meeting as long as it serves as being productive and we get actually things done. I understand we can't vote on them during the working meeting, but it's always a good thing to talk over things and get everything clarified.
Baldridge?
Nothing.
So we can actually vote on things in a working meeting if we need to. For example, one of them that might come up, it's not really a working meeting. Any working meeting is really just a special meeting. For example, one of the things we'll talk about a little bit later is the IVCC agreement, right? So even though we're going to place it on file tonight, hopefully, that one will have to get there's a publication with it for 15 days, so we won't have it in time for the next one. So that might be something that in 2 weeks, we want to have something midweek so we can get it finally approved for them even quicker instead of having to wait an entire month.
So during a working meeting, we can also go ahead and vote as well.
We can, as long as it's on the agenda for something. To me, the real advantage of a working meeting though is, so like right now we have a whole bunch of, we had our ordinances here, we have all of our things that we have to do and stuff like that. It makes it a little bit more difficult to blend in open discussion topics. If there is topics that people want to talk about, that's just kind of the thought process about it. So we don't have to schedule one tonight. If people are for it though, we can schedule one. We can just look at later in the month or even next month or anything like that.
I don't need.
Austin, I know that I work full-time too, so it would require me to take time off of work. When is your spring break or summer break start?
So I already had my spring break. My summer break would start the first week of, after the first week of June.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, there's no action for that item, so if nobody has anything else, we can just move on to the next item. D, request from Dave Weiden to use city property for loading, unloading access to Weekly's Farmer Market. So there's actually 2 items from him here on here. Which one is this one? So what I got is, Dear Mayor and City Council, Cortland's Pub will be hosting Farmers Market beginning June 5th, 2025, with potentially up to 6 vendors and possibly more. It'll be held every Thursday afternoon, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. through September. The market will be held in Coeur d'Alene's patio, and we are requesting permission to use the old alley property owned by the city so that the vendors can unload their goods. Please let me know if we have permission from the city to use the city's property, if we feel this is a great opportunity to bring our people to downtown businesses. Thank you. So go around. Anybody's got any comments, questions?
No, I'm all for it. I think it's great when local businesses take initiative like this. We should be incentivizing that as much as possible. And so I think approving this request does that.
I have no problem with it. I mean, it sure would make loading and unloading more accessible to the patio area.
McDermott,
I have no objections. It'll work for the city, so.
Baldridge?
Just happy that somebody took the initiative here and look forward to having a farmer's market.
Yeah, absolutely. I've talked about this in the past. It's great when you have a nonprofit wanting to come into town to bring events and bring opportunities. So when you have businesses wanting to do it as well, it's fantastic. Anytime that can happen in the city, doesn't have to necessarily be the one spearheading it. It's great. So if the biggest thing we can do is just authorize use of some property to be able to make that happen, I think it's a great thing. So if there's nothing else, if we can get a motion to approve the use of the city property.
I'll make a motion that we approve the use of city property for loading and unloading access to a weekly farmer's market.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge,
Aye.
Cullinan,
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Moyle,
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. E, request from Dave Weiden to use city property for parking for ATV golf carts for a drive-in event. I'll read this one. Dear Mayor and City Council, Coeur d'Alene's Pub is planning on hosting a side-by-side golf cart drive-in show June 7th, 2025. We would like to request permission to use the city lot to the west of our patio for ATV golf cart parking. There'll be no alcohol allowed in the vehicles, or they will simply be asked to leave. This will be noted on the flyers when they are distributed. Starting times will be approximately 5 p.m. and music will follow on our patio from 8 to 11 p.m. So we'll run the room on this one. If anybody has any comments, questions, Cullinan?
I'm not opposed to it. Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. Like I said, anything that a local business wants to do to attract more people to the downtown is great. So, yeah.
Is this for like the grass area between the parking lot and the patio, or is it? Originally, I was thinking it was for the grass area, but then as you reread that, are they asking permission to use the parking lot?
I thought it was the grass area.
I assumed it was the grass area. We can verify that though first.
I mean, either way, it's fine. It's just a one night thing.
Yeah, it says city lot. That technically is a lot there because there
Okay.
was a home there at
Okay.
one point in time. We can verify that though. Okay.
Mhm.
McDermott?
No, I don't have no objections. That's a pretty good idea, actually. Something new.
Baldridge?
No objections, and I look forward to that event. But the only thing I do have as the Commissioner of Parks is the concern for inclement weather and people doing some donuts or burning out and ruining that property there for us.
So my thoughts are, I really do appreciate them asking. I mean that because I see people kind of utilizing some of the land without asking. The fact that they're asking for it in front of it, they're putting out in the flyers that alcohol aren't there, because that is one of the concerns. If you have public land or something like that, businesses are not allowed to profit off of it. So if they're just parking vehicles there or something like that, I think that's fine. But I do agree with Commissioner Baldridge there. I mean, if it does become a problem, I mean, this is one of the questions we had when we started closing down certain things for the street to allow bans and stuff like that there. You know, we kind of thought about that initially, and we thought if it's going to be a problem, then we might not allow it. So far, there really hasn't been an issue from it. So this is a single, I shouldn't say incident, a single event. I'm kind of inclined to allow them to do it, and we can see if there's problems. If there ends up being issues with it, then maybe it's something that we want to approve later on. But anytime you can get opportunities for people to get into our downtown area, I think it's a win. So unless there's any further comments, questions, concerns, we get a motion to approve that.
Make a motion to approve the use of the property by the Weiden family, Coeur d'Alene's.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan,
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Moyle,
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. F, purchase of turnout gear for fire department. Boyle.
So as you can see from the packet, it does come in under that $20,000 thing. I guess theoretically don't need to ask permission, but just being fiscally sound, I want to make sure everybody's on board. These are when you think of a firefighter, their entire equipment, including helmet, screen protectors, but mask, everything for going into a fire. So it's safety. They do have an expiration date. And right now it's a request to purchase 5, but I was talking with some of the members of the fire department, and we're going to look into a better kind of replenishment. So it's not going to be so many at one time, because they do only last 10 years.
Any other comments, McDermott?
It's something we definitely need. We got to protect the people that protect us. Absolutely for it, 100%.
Baldridge?
never going to turn on anything for safety. I'd be grateful to help and work on that as well for the, get them every other 10 years or every 10 years, whatever it is. That's it.
So I see there's 5 listed.
Mhm.
Do we have 5 at their expiration date?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We recently had half of the department's turnout gear replaced due to the Karis fire. So, but it was only half. They're
Okay.
still expired and past the date.
Got
And if there was some kind of misfortune, that's the first thing they're going to look at for
Sure.
liability.
Life cycle stuff can be tough, especially when it's like certified equipment.
Mhm.
You know, in theory, the idea is that you're always replacing a certain amount every year or something like that, but then all of a sudden you get a new standard change and everything is required to be changed, but it makes it a little bit more difficult. But, you know, it's safety required stuff, so what are you going to do? So,
Mhm.
all right, if there's no other questions, get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of turnout gear for the fire department.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
G, approve travel-related expenses for Mayor Curran to attend IMEA annual conference and trade show. So originally, when I saw this on here, I saw that there were some other elected officials going too. I cannot go the night of the event. That's when LP's graduation is. That's when my son's graduating. So I can go in the morning. I just wanted to make sure that we actually have, is elected officials going to this event? Because I don't, in my experience in the last 6 years, we've always had elected officials go to it every single time. So people are actually going?
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know why everybody's name got yanked off it though. So
I've not taken any reimbursement
Yeah.
in the 2 years that I've had to go down there. So
I don't think there's anything wrong with that if you wanted to represent the
sure.
city, but okay. Well, in that case, can we get a motion to approve or what do you want to do then?
I don't see the value in it.
The value in representing the city down at the,
When you have the representative of the IMEA going already, I don't see the value in someone else going. We also have the electrical superintendent going as well. So the value of paying for the mayor's mileage when the representative is not going to be taking that mileage himself, I can't see the value of.
okay.
I think you can discuss the merits of either getting your mileage reimbursed or not getting your mileage reimbursed, but I do think there would be some value in the mayor attending, just because the mayor does have general oversight over each department and is kind of the point person for the council. So I don't oppose it for, well, like I said, you can have a debate over the merits of either not of taking your mileage reimbursement or not taking your mileage reimbursement, but I do think it would probably be a good thing for the mayor to be there.
This is a really hard time right now because we just came off of all these awful negativity with Facebook posts and social media, and you feel like you're under the scrutiny of everything. And there were posts specifically made about why city employees they got a free meal in Washington, D.C. and stuff like that. So it's hard to sit here and be like, well, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. Like it's very difficult because of what we're coming off of.
Okay.
Well, I agree with Hillary. It's, we've already been under scrutiny quite a bit. And even with Facebook and everything else and everything that's been said, it's kind of tough decision either way.
Okay.
I just threw that on there in case anybody wants to know what events or what workshops there are. So there's a welcome year in review, future natural gas, RTO discussion, disaster response breakout session, IMEA power plant personnel, and then a state house report on how legislation is impacting your utility. So that would be the Friday.
Yeah.
So
I can go down first thing Friday morning, but I
Mhm.
can't make it Thursday night, unfortunately. You know, most of Thursday night is mostly trade show, banquet awards presentation. The only thing that's really important this year for the awards presentation is I'm sure there's going to be recognition of Mike Jenin. Mike Jenin is somebody that has represented the city extremely well for all the years that he's been down there. So I was hoping to have an opportunity to see him, but but as long as we have somebody from the city going down there to thank him for all his years of service, that's the most important thing. So, okay. There's nothing else to motion or action or no action, either one. Okay,
I,
table it.
I mean, when is the conference? May 15th?
Yeah.
I mean, we can table it and then discuss it at another point if we want to, and we're all on the same page, but
Okay.
I don't,
Is that a motion to table?
We have an ordinance that states the specifics and everything in order how to go about this, right?
Yeah, that's why it's on here.
Okay.
That's why it's
You
on the
know what
agenda.
you know what I'm getting at. I
You
mean,
you have to request ahead of time,
Yeah.
which is why he had it placed on the agenda.
And as of Friday, there was 3 people on here. So now that I see
Right.
that there's names been taken off since Friday, but that's okay.
Oh, one of them was
No.
the superintendent, which I have oversight of, and I've given him permission to go, and I've done it through the legal channels of the ordinance.
and I wasn't going to ask for any
All right.
money to go down there myself.
So we have a motion to table. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge,
Aye.
Cullinan,
aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Moyle,
Aye.
Curran.
H, place first quarter building permits on file. Anybody have any questions, concerns over this? It's pretty standard. We can get a motion to place the building permits on file.
Make a motion to place the building permits on file.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan,
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Moyle,
Aye.
Curran.
I proclaim April 2025 as National Child Abuse Prevention Month in Oglesby, Illinois. Curran. So I get a lot of requests for these. And if you go back in history and time in the city, we were probably approving like 10, I think there was one month we did two or three of them in a single month. So I think we've really tried to cut down on the proclamations that we do. Not saying that they're all not important, but there's certain ones that really rise above the rest. In my opinion. And one of those is child abuse. Another one is suicide prevention. They're things that touch on everybody's lives that as residents, we all have a part to play. So I just want to read off just the last little piece of it here. Whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas prevention remains the best defense of our children and families. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Jason Curran, do hereby proclaim April 2025 as National Child Abuse Prevention Month in Oglesby, Illinois, and urge all citizens to recognize the month by dedicating ourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families. So just a real simple one, but again, please be mindful of that. I think we're going to put some resources on the city's Facebook page so that people can look at some stuff there. So next, J, accept the resignation of Fire Chief Ron Popurella effective April 30th, 2025. Commissioner Moll, do you want to talk about this one?
Well, Ronnie wrote a really nice resignation letter, and it's not a resignation because he's unhappy with the city. He's been here for such a long time. It's a retirement, and I think it's something we should be proud of and excited for and celebrate. So he just wanted to share, he first joined the Oglesby Fire Department right out of high school as a junior firefighter in 1979. Since that time, he has held every title possible in the department before being appointed fire chief in 2005. It's been an honor to serve the citizens of Oglesby and Oglesby Fire Protection District. I've had the pleasure of working with the most dedicated men and women in those 46 years. We in Oglesby are lucky to have some of the best dedicated first responders in the Illinois Valley. I have decided that the time for me to retire has arrived, and my last day as fire chief will be April 30th, 2025. I thank the city of Oglesby for the honor of allowing me to serve as long as I have.
Excellent.
Yes.
McDermott, do you have any comments?
Well, it'd be hard to accept the resignation of Ron Popurella. However, it is well earned. I'll approve it.
Baldridge.
Just like to thank him for his service.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it says a lot that he's been with us since 1979. Definitely something that deserves respect, especially in today's day and age.
Excellent. My 2 cents on it is, so when I took over mayor, we talked about it, and he told me that he was planning on retiring relatively soon. And one of the things I chatted with him about is as part of the IVRD, right? So we are just finishing our 8th year as IVRD, Illinois Valley Regional Dispatch. So how it worked was that the 4 area cities that have primary members of it, they all get their first 2 years of being the chairman. So Oglesby was the last to be the chairman. So Chief Popurella was designated to be the chairman for these years 7 and 8 for Oglesby. And one of the things I talked to him, I says, hey, I'd feel bad that your replacement, being brand new to being fire chief and stuff like that, they're the ones that take over as chairman. So he agreed to that, and he agreed to stay on a little bit longer. So he's finishing his time as the Illinois Valley chairman. So I really appreciate that he gave, not only stayed on for that, but all the years of service that he gave to the city of Oglesby. So definitely deserves our respect. So, all right. If nobody has anything else, we can accept his resignation. Would you like to make a motion?
I will make a motion to accept the resignation of Fire Chief Ron Popurella.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge,
Aye.
Conan,
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Moyle,
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. Number 14, public comment on any topic. Seeing there's none, we'll move on. Number 15, commissioner reports. Commissioner Cullen.
Okay, just a few housekeeping items. Dog tags and contractors licenses are due May 1st. Dog tags are $5 until June 1st, when they'll go to $10. They're required for all dogs 6 months and older, and proof must be shown of a rabies vaccination. Contractors licenses, excluding plumbing and roofing, cost $100. If any construction begins prior to a contractor obtaining a license, the penalty will be 110% of the building permit fee plus $25. One thing we've been working on is the city's website. There's been some changes made to it in terms of organization and also just some updates. The city council's information has been separated from the information of the city's various boards. So you might need to update your bookmarks. If you go to whatever page it was before, I don't know if it was, I'm not even sure exactly what the name of the page was before off the top of my head. But if you go to that previous page, it'll give you a 404. So you'll have to update your bookmark. We're also considering shifting the URL from oglesby.il.us to oglesbyil.gov to be in line with the domain of our city email addresses. So keep an eye out for that as well. Throughout this change, however, one new feature has been added to the website. There are now links to our live streams for whatever current year we're in, so 2025, and also a printable schedule of said meetings. As far as the board page is concerned, we're looking at adding information about what each of the boards do, members of the boards, and tracking down what seems to be some missing agendas and minutes. We also added a link to financial information from the state comptroller's office, as well as information on the number of lead lines in the city. We've also made changes to our YouTube channel, specifically the introduction of chapters on our YouTube videos. If you've ever seen one of our YouTube videos, they can be up to 2 hours. And so sifting through those videos and trying to find what you're looking for can be kind of tedious. And so the introduction of chapters on those videos hopefully makes it a little bit easier for residents of Oglesby, or really anybody, to find what they need to find. We're also informed by Facebook that starting June 29th, they will no longer be hosting Facebook Live videos on their website. From my understanding, those are public records and we do have to keep them, but I don't know if Pat can speak to that. But we have a number of prior council meetings, 90 to my knowledge, that need to be moved over to YouTube. I don't have a date that I anticipate this work will be done, but I want you to rest assured that it will be if it needs to be. So, Pat, do you know? Do those?
I don't. You're
Okay.
catching me completely off guard.
I do know the answer to
And
that.
I don't know why you
Okay.
would need to move them over to YouTube.
Because Facebook's no longer going to host them.
I can adjust.
And you don't host them internally? No?
No, they're only hosted on our page. More recent ones are posted on our YouTube, but there's a number of meetings back to maybe 2020 or something of that nature that are on Facebook. And so, yeah.
Well, they need to be saved somewhere. That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying.
So,
Okay.
that's the end of my report.
Commissioner Moyle.
Well, I'm just going to give a little update on what the public health and safety departments have been up to in the month of March. In the police department, they have performed 100 house watches, 1,039 business checks, 548 park security checks, 149 traffic stops resulting in 10 traffic citations and 22 case reports. The ambulance had 44 911 calls in town, 1 mutual aid call, and the fire department had 16 total calls, 1 structure fire, 3 power lines down, 3 mutual aid calls, 4 carbon monoxide calls, 4 weed fires, and 1 assistant to other cities. So, we've been very busy.
Thank you. Commissioner McDermott.
Okay, we got the hydrant flush. It will begin the week of April 21st and end April 25th. I would also like to thank everybody for getting out and voting this last election. It was a vital one for our city. I'm happy to report that our town stands together and is not divided as one might perceive. This council is doing its best for the city of Oglesby, and I feel that if we received a professional guidance from those in our leadership position, that of our mayor, there is nothing this council can't do that a city manager can. Remember, it is the council who would direct the city manager what duties they are to perform. Also, I met with the governor's office a week ago today and explained our need for the help with the wastewater treatment plant and have informed them that Oglesby is always willing to support the needs of Matheson and Starved Rock expansions in hopes that Illinois will help us. We can better help them as well. As far as grants, Underwood's office was notified that although we were awarded the community project fund through her office, the resolution passed earlier this month omitted the CPFS for the FY25, and we will be resubmitting them. Her office is working with previously awarded recipients like ours to ensure our project does not go unfunded. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Commissioner Baldwin.
I'd like to thank everyone for getting out and voting. It was very helpful. The solar project behind 3rd Street and the fire station is complete. We're now waiting for the IMEA to come in and certify that it is working as designed. The Malik Road sub-project is finally coming right along. Our own electric department has now completed nearly 50% of the project. Just to point out that Oglesby taxpayers are saving an estimated $1 million by cutting down on labor costs and working on this project themselves. That's all I have.
All right, thank you.
Okay, good deal.
Number 16, mayor's report. All right, first one, just like we are Oglesby expanding on more events that we have in the city, Cordelino is expanding on things, creating more events, stuff like that. It's always fantastic when we have city either, entities or something like that doing something. And this weekend, I believe, April 12th, the Oglesby Elks is going to be sponsoring an Easter egg hunt. So at 10:30, there's going to be over 1,500 eggs out there. There's going to be different age groups of up to 3-year-olds, preschool to kindergarten, 1st and 2nd graders, and then 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. I'm also being told that the Easter Bunny will arrive at 9:30 a.m. in the morning as well. So please take advantage of that opportunity out there. Thank you to the Elks for doing that. The second thing I want to talk about is, Facebook. Facebook has come out with a new thing saying that they're no longer, I think it's going to be sometime in June. They're going to pull off, they're going to be pulling off all old videos. So, and haven't had a chance to talk to you about this yet, but I do know from what it was back in March of 2020. Now, we had a different city attorney at the time, so maybe the rules have changed, because I did believe at some point in time this would be required. But at least back in March of 2020, it is not required for us to maintain. The legal requirement for us to maintain is minutes, audio recordings for a certain period of time for a closed session, but there was no legal requirement for us to maintain a database for videos. Now, does that mean that we shouldn't? I do think that it would be a good idea to move those over, and I think that's what we're looking at, is how we can move those videos over, just because there is 5 years worth of content and video that's always nice to have as a record. But that probably something to look at, make sure that it's not necessarily required. But back in March of 2020, it was not required. That's why we hosted it on a place that was not a paid thing. Now, if it would have been a paid site or something like that, that way if Facebook would ever fold or go away, it would never be required for us to maintain that. But I guess we can look in that to see if it's a requirement or not. But either way, I think the goal is to preserve the videos one way or another. The last item to talk about, the referendum. So I do appreciate all the residents that came out to come and vote. My 2 cents, personally, I was not necessarily happy with the vote, but people have been talking to me about that. And as mayor, I'm very happy that we have an answer, right? I look at it as this way: is our goal up here is to support what the residents want, and the residents, I don't know the exact reasons why the residents voted the way they do. Is it because they don't want a city manager right now? Do they want a city administrator instead? Were they concerned about the cost? Do they want something different? I don't know if we know that. Maybe it's a combination of things. But what we can say for certain is the citizens put together, and by a large majority, said they do not want a city manager today in the city of Oglesby. So what does that mean for us? It means we're going to continue to press forward. We're going to continue to do the best we can with what we're given here. I know the Plan Commission was holding off on having a couple meetings because they're looking at updating their comprehensive plan to see what they want to put in there. So, all right, that's all I have. Number 17, executive session to discuss. Does it say it like that? The operation by a municipality of a municipal utility or the operation of a municipal power agency or municipal natural gas agency when the discussion involves: 1, contracts relating to the purchase, sale, delivery, or electricity of natural gas, 5 ILCS 120/2C23. The appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific bodies, 5 ILCS 120/2C. Collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning the salary schedule for more than one class of employees, 5 LCS 120/2C2, and security procedures, school board safety and security, and the use of personnel and equipment to respond to an actual, threatened, or reasonable potential danger to the safety of employees, students, staff, public property, 5 ILCS 120/2C8. And the other one's just a repeat. So again, so we do have, just so you know, we do have 2 items that we're looking to do after. They're just really to place on file. The only other thing I'd say with that is if there's a reason that we would need to approve the IVC annexation agreement even sooner, we could always do a special meeting to make sure that happens quicker. So that's all I have. Does anybody, can I get a motion for executive session?
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Aldridge,
Aye.
Cullinan,
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Moyle,
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. All right. Thank you, everybody.
so I don't forget.
Back in open session. Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Here.
Cullinan.
Here.
McDermott. Boyle.
Here.
Curran.
Here. Number 18, place annexation agreement with IVCC on file. I know it's been a very long road, a lot of discussion back and forth and a lot of concerns, but I think we're at a place now to where my understanding is the attorneys have talked and I think everybody's agreed. Anybody have any comments before placing on file?
No.
Well,
Really excited. My background is also in agriculture, so I'm really excited that they're going to get this completed.
excellent. McDermott,
I'm all for it, naturally.
Baldridge.
Happy to get it done.
Absolutely. Okay. I guess I already said my comments up front. So can we get a motion?
I motion that we place the annexation agreement with IVCC on file pending approval following the required hearing.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Boyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. And just as a follow-up to that, when do you think is the soonest that we could possibly even get the hearing scheduled and everything like that roughly?
The 28th, I think, Jason.
Okay.
And I told the ladies that.
Okay, excellent.
That's where we're gonna shoot.
All right.
Yeah,
We'll see if we can get it done as fast as
good.
we can. All right. Number 19, place school resource officer agreement with IVCC on file. Moyle, do you want to talk about this at all?
So we just have a few more questions to kind of sort out. So at this time, I think we're going to just let it, I'm going to make a motion to table it unless anybody else has comments.
Any other comments? Open floor?
I understand why we're tabling it. It's your best option right now.
Baldridge, anything?
No.
No, I think it's good to get some more information to make sure that we're putting a good agreement forth. I mean, obviously, we want to make sure that we're giving the college all the resources they need. So, all right, so there's a motion on the floor. Can I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Boyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. And number 20, adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
To adjourn.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Boyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. We are adjourned. These are all the ones that I.
This is new. This is a slip. This is for stormwater.